Good evening and welcome to San Antonio FC Fancast. My name is Harry. Joining me is Rafa. Robert had family that stopped in and visited, so always great to see him. Royce's to-do list was extremely long. Matt, I don't know what happened to Matt. Too much drumming last night. I don't know. Rafa, it's just you and me. Old school.
Old school, the round table, the high school edition. Well, the SAFC
high school edition. I guess we're not on that topic yet. So, for me, this episode, I'll sum up with AJ. He felt it wasn't a good match. He was disappointed in the match. I'll just leave it at that. Not from the effort, just by the result. And I think when we go into and watch the replay of it here, I think we'll both agree that for San Antonio FC and listening to some of the feedback here from Coach, you could tell he was a little bit frustrated, to put it lightly.
Yep. I think it was a frustrating night. I know it was a big night because it was the championship night celebration. Then we have, Fiesta going on and a couple other things. Some other team that didn't make the playoffs, but so it was a lot of things going on in San Antonio. And I think maybe that the night itself probably caught up to the guys a little bit, just a little pressure because, like you mentioned, Phoenix has kind of been our kryptonite, and still kind of is a little bit. But
Dan Weiss on the air said, I put out a tweet on it here. What was his words? We're cursed by Phoenix here. It said that Rising has a curse on SAFC for that here. So I forgot to do intros. Royce isn't here to help guide me and guide the ship here. How are you doing, Rafa? I kind of just went straight in. Bad host here.
Oh, no worries. Just enjoyed last night's game. Enjoyed a great week of Champions League. Took out Chelsea as usual, and just ready for this coming week. We got some two important games coming up: U.S. Open Cup and our first meeting with Las Vegas.
So I was hoping Royce was going to be here, and Royce, if you listen, hopefully this works. But Royce has been asking for some music to kind of transition. So I went through and found some copyright-free music here. So let's see how this works here.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what.
Oh, moving into the first. What was that?
All you need is like the strobe lights and the bombs and the smoke and the intro.
That's why we need Matt here with the smoke. He's the one that's approved through SAFC for smoke. Let me see here. Let me expand the window here. So we brought in a new player. It's one that John from USL Tactics hinted on the preview show of a player coming in. Unfortunately, it took a little bit longer to come in, but if he's signing a multi-year deal with San Antonio FC, I'm okay with waiting 6 games, whatever it is. But San Antonio FC transfers in 2021 Jorge Hernandez from KV Mechelen, and they did sign him to a multi-year deal. Of course, who knows how long that multi-year deal is, but kind of your thoughts on Hernandez coming in. He was wearing the number 8. He's an attacking midfield. Yeah, he's creative along those lines here. So kind of your thoughts on on Jorge?
I think Jorge is going to add a little more dynamics to our attack, especially since he's been in Europe. Maybe got not much of the playing time with Mechelen, but the thing is, he's training with European, coaches and so forth. And you kind of see with Perano, he was a totally different player when he came back from Portugal. A lot more skill wise, as far as skills and attack and so forth. You're going to see the same thing with Hernandez, and I think we may have we pair him up. We could probably have a real dangerous attack, moving forward. And also we added some depth there too in that area. So we got options to depending who we play. Because now we have like I said, Perano and Hernandez. We also have Lorera. So kind of pick your poison, what you want. We can kind of hit you in any way. It's kind of like the same thing we did last year.
And Nicholas Murray put out this what to expect as Jorge Hernandez joins San Antonio FC. Creativity and shooting. In 2021, he put together 12 goals, 6 assists. He led the championship with 91 chances created and an expected assist mark of 8.52 XA, which I'm assuming that's probably pretty good. And finished the season with 64.3 shooting accuracy. Another set piece specialist for that here. In that year, he tied with Fabian Garcia with 3 goals directly and had 5 goals from outside the penalty box. And like I said here, to me, it's one with he's kind of a Perano type with the ability to take people off the dribble along those lines, as well as kind of looking at the film that I've been able to find on him here. So we did get to see him a little bit in action this week here, and we'll get into the highlights. He came on late here. The question that I have, and we'll kind of get this into here in a minute here, is kind of where does he fit? And when we do the San Antonio lineups, we'll kind of go into that. And then, because there's a second piece of this here, and that is from the SAFC rumor mill, Tom Bogert, a MLS and USMNT National Team Insider, with for BR Football and Extra Time for that here. So it covers MLS a lot. One of the go-to follows for that here. CF Montreal homegrown midfielder Rida Zouhi is heading on a loan to San Antonio. He has appeared in 5 of Montreal's 8 games this year. And of course, he talks about on them, where it opens up a spot for them. We went through and kind of looked at the film for him for here. Kind of your thoughts on where he fits in, and kind of expectations that San Antonio FC fans can expect.
I think when we watched the film on him, he was very active in the middle. He was basically a holding mid, kind of what Abu does, PC does. Very physical, good, speed. Very young too. Like I said, at age 19, he's got a lot to grow on, and I think Montreal wants to send him down here to really kind of grow as a player. And like I said, look at the backtrack of some of the players we've had, younger players we've had. They've grown. So I think it's an interesting move that they're doing this, because remember last year I mentioned to you about like Jordi Delem when he came in he really kind of stepped it up, especially when PC was out and that Boo was kind of limited with some of he was kind of hampered with those injuries. I think this is like an insurance policy, something just in case if that happens, we actually have someone there that we can plug in and has that MLS experience. He's already played 5 games, so he's got that MLS experience, so he can go to toe-to-toe with the players here on USL. So if it is true that they can see we're going to get him from loan, and it's going to be a deal, signed, he'll be just added more depth for us. And maybe like right now, I know how Boo was we were trying to bring him along from injuries and thing. PC's coming back from another injury too. So I think this is probably a move for SAFC to kind of cover themselves for the meantime, because we've been in a long haul right now. Like I said, we've been in a real tough stretch of our schedule, but I think now we're gonna go deeper into this. So I think Marcino wanted to solidify that area, and I think this would be a good move because he's got some upside to him, and being 19, he's going to be hungry, ready to go. He wants to probably show Montreal, hey, why are you sending me out here? See if I can do it over there for you guys.
Well, I think it gets him some minutes.
Yeah.
Number two, he's a tall kid at 5'10". Looking at his picture, he looks pretty physical, along those lines, because there's some that, midfielders, let's say Pirano, where I'm not, he's muscular, but he's not that thick muscle, along those lines. And of course, I'm just looking at a picture. I haven't seen him in person, but just looking at the film, he brings a little bit more different midfielder as far as height compared to PC, Abu through there. I think what's 5? Hayes. I think Hayes is kind of tall.
Yeah.
A little bit taller than PC and them. So I think it brings in a little bit more height for us in the midfield, which on set pieces could be pivotal. But watching the field on him on Y Scout, it, like I said here, he doesn't have any goals. He doesn't really have any assists, but he's very solid defensively. Looking at the film, passing wise, he's solid. He's got good touch. He's able to use his body around. It'll be interesting to see how he adapts to Marcino's pressing. I don't watch a lot of Montreal, so I'm not sure if they're a pressing team or not. Sorry, sniffles. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how he fits in that aspect for that here. So, but moving on. Oh, hold on, I got a transition here. Let's see how we feeling here. Let's go with this one here before we transfer to the new topic. And if there's any local bands that would like to share their music and that we can put on, I would have no problem promoting them. So
sure,
if you're watching the show and you know a band or group that would love to have some of their music played for free on our show, reach out to us. With like I said, this is just stuff that we found on the internet, or stuff that I found. I guess I shouldn't say we. Stuff that I found. The injury report, not a lot changed. Tanner, Dylan, PC went back on. He had came off, went, and then unfortunately got hurt, went and is back on. Manley's not on there, and we'll see here in a minute that he was on the 18. And then Ozakar's still on there for personal reasons. And like I said here, hopefully everything's all right. Like I said here, I know we've said that every week. Your thoughts on the injury report? I know there's not a lot to discuss for it here, and if you want to go to the starting lineup, it was the Farr, Maloney, Garcia, Batista, Gomez, Boo, Isaiah Parker gets a start, Hayes, Pirano, Hansen, Maloney for that here. And then on the bench, Mercado, Manley, on the bench, Bailey, Larrera, Jorge Hernandez on the bench, Camarney Smith, and Eric Hurtado. One person that's not on the bench and is on a 25-day is Kai. Kind of your thoughts on, and they lined up here, so that way we have the full picture here. This is how they lined up, in a 3-5-3?
A 3-5-2.
Or 3-5-2, pardon me, 3-5-2.
Yeah, it's your typical Marcino lineup as far as, tactics wise. 2 forwards, your 5 midfielders, your 2 attacking, 1 holding, and then your triangle of death there with Batista, Garcia, and Maloney. The same lineup like was last week for Louisville, just minus maybe, like I said, with Hansen kind of coming back. So
you had Abu you got PC that came in for PC, and Parker started over Bailey. And
Bailey,
although when we come in, we do the highlights, Bailey does come in and makes an impact. We'll just say here, but to me, Maloney on the back line still. Hopefully, because Manley, that would be Manley's spot for that here. So, to me, if he comes back healthy, where do we put, Gomez? Does Gomez go back to the bench? Because Parker's loaned down from FC Dallas, so you figure he's getting minutes because they're not loaning him down to sit on the bench unless it's a performance issue. I'm just going to be upfront with you along those lines here for that here. So, but anything stick out? So to kind of circle back to the conversation here before here, and I kind of want to go into a little bit here. We are bringing in Jorge Hernandez, who I'm assuming plays kind of Pirano Hayes spot, right? Kind of up in the attacking.
Yeah.
You got Eric Hurtado, Nacho, Hansen, Dylan, and let's see here. Hold on. Should have had that ready. Was it Kai? Blank on his last name. I know it starts with a K. Come on, computer. But I guess my question is, if it's true we are getting the loan of Rida to go with Jorge Hernandez, you're not bringing in a best 11 and signing him to a multi-year and most likely having him on the bench. And you're not bringing in a midfielder who has played 5 of 8 MLS matches to set the bench, maybe week 1, week 2 while he gets adjusted. But how do you think Marcina puts the puzzle together? Because we went from, hey, we have nobody to where, okay, hey, where do we fit everybody at this point real quick?
That's the same problem we had last year. But I think you're bringing him, the guy from Montreal, you're bringing him in. More than likely, he's like I said, he's going to be your holding mid, because we're not sure how, as far as with how PC's been out, and then Abu was being worked back on. I think more than likely he's going to take that role to do a lot of the minutes, and then we'll come in with substitutions with PC or Abu. We just want to, I think, to get them fit, and maybe also to get them ready for that playoff push towards the end. And remember, if you remember last year, we were kind of, PC didn't get to play in the final. I think Abu was
the last
hurt.
2 games, yeah.
Yeah, but Abu was hurt, so we had to bring. We had Jordi Delem, who really stepped it up. So I think that's going to be his role there for now, just to kind of let the guys kind of heal up. I think Dylan's going to be coming. I think probably more likely soon if we haven't, signed that Kai's contract. Because I think it's going to run out pretty soon. So that's probably
May 1st.
May 1st. So that's probably an indication that Dylan is probably going to end up, we should be ready by that time. I think they've just been taking their time with them to get him healed up. Same thing with Tainer. Now that we have Manley back, like I said, you can plug him back there, and then Maloney can be, in and out with Parker or with Gomez. So it's a good problem to have because, like I said, we need that added depth. Because last year, if you notice, all the injuries we had, but that wasn't affected too much because we had the next guy up, and I think that's what we're eventually doing. Because I think these first 2 months have been rough on the schedule, but hey, we're in good shape, not that far off. Yeah, Sacramento's leading, but I'm sure Sacramento is probably going to end up going downhill, sooner or later. Injuries will catch up to them. And that's the thing is, if you notice, when we got healthy towards the end, other teams started kind of to falter, and that's when we ended up extending our lead. So I think that's kind of the strategy is trying to within striking distance of the top 3, and that's why let's get this added depth ready to go, build some chemistry. So by the time we face these teams again, we'll be ready to go. We can do what we need to do, and maybe, like I said, catch them with their pants down with a lot of injuries.
So to me, not knowing the injury to Justin Dillon, you got Hansen, who's a starter. Kamari Smith stepped up. He's done a lot better. He's kind of found his niche. Eric Hurtado, I think, is past Kai in the lineup because he's in the 18. He's older, And I think he's one of those players that you wouldn't mind bringing off the bench. He's not one, he's 32. So to me, he's not expecting there where Kai's 25. I think forward wise, assuming that Dylan is healthy, and to me had a couple of bad ankle twists in Loudon, and I think if we had a deeper roster, he would have been subbed off on there at that point. So I'm hoping that he didn't aggravate it even further by continuing to play on it. And that's just me, speculating here, but that's what I'm hoping that he didn't extend that injury. But to me, could you see them going away from a 2 forward system with all the, with Pirano and and Hernandez, going with, just a striker up top?
Or I think we can end up going through a 3-4-3. I think that's what we played some games last year, that we had 3 forwards up top. So I think Marcino's strategy is that we can hit you with any combination. I think with having this depth now allows them to do that, and also to match up with teams, because you can say certain players maybe do have better matchups. Like I said, let's say we're going against Las Vegas. They see something on film like, okay, let's plug in these guys. I think we can exploit weaknesses here and there. So we have a combination, like I said, with some forwards with some muscle push. Because like I said, Dylan's kind of like our muscle. He's real physical. So I think with Mercado now, and then we have our speed with Hansen, Nacho, and then also with what's his name, with Kai. So and then the same thing on the outside too, because we're going to be rotating people on the wings. Like I said, now you have Parker, you have Gomez, you have Maloney. Once Sarker comes back, you got another option there. Now we have Manley back, so you have 4 options there that you can do a lot of things. And then the same thing with the middle too. Now with Hernandez coming in, pairing up with Pirano's, I think that's going to be a very dangerous combination there. And then if you need a sub, guess what? You have a super sub, and Aurora can also do some more damage there too. Mm-hmm. And then you have Bailey too that can also do a lot. And you saw what he did last night. So I think we're set up now. I think we're set. Maybe we might tweak something in the summer. Who knows? But like I said, we're set. As far as defensively, midfield wise, I think we're good. I think we just need some time to build chemistry up top. I think, and I saw flashes of it last night. And once everything kind of comes together, I think the other teams are, like I said, the other teams are kind of taking notice of what players we're bringing in, and they know that they're going to have to contend with us once they face us down the road.
Well, it's that time again. This is the Roy Special. So, how is this supposed to feel? I thought that was kind of appropriate. If you're a San Antonio FC fan, these heights brought to you by USL on YouTube, USL Championship YouTube, might aggravate you a little bit. What was your expectations going in? I thought a win. I thought a 3-1 win, but I also thought we needed to get and thank you, the 50/50 podcast. Rafa's telling me that there may be a show tomorrow night from the 50/50 podcast with the coach of I believe it's a state champion, correct?
I believe so. No. Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, Coach Cano still gotta send that in, but a little bit of a teaser. I thought 3-1. I also thought they should have been scored early. They had opportunities, and we'll get into it. But kind of, what was your thoughts heading into the match?
Just to get that monkey off her back, because this is the last team that beat us at home, and we'll see. You know, me looking to this game, you know, I was looking forward to kind of putting a beat down on them. I know they've struggled a little bit, but they're still a quality team. I know that you mentioned to me about they had some roster changes and so forth, but I still thought, you know, we still had a little more chemistry than them, but you know, we didn't get the result. But like I said, I think we outplayed them. If you can see some of the highlights here.
And I apologize, Coach. I put the scarves up usually once a year. I don't really make adjustments with them, but I will see if I can find a room and put your scarf up so that way we can do it. I've also changed the computer that I did just so that way when we do the videos, it's a little bit clearer than the laptop. But I will work on it here. I am sorry. I'm so sorry for that here. One thing that I do want to, and Coach kind of did say show tomorrow. Teasers to come out. Teaser will come out shortly later on this evening, most likely. He's probably watching our show and putting them together as we speak, knowing Coach. But there is kind of a misconception, and some of it may just be friendly banter, that Rising isn't a good team. They are a hell of a good team. I know they had an off year last year. Historically, they have a very good roster that's just as deep as ours, and I think we saw that here. Especially from Danny Trejo that they signed, who scored the goal. They've got quality. They're deep. They have anti-fan favorite Carlos Harvey from LA Galaxy. He's a great player. I know we don't like him. He plays on that edge. If he plays on your team, you love him. When he's kind of a little bit like Yuma.
Hit that bastard.
But if Yuma was on San Antonio FC, we would be, and we didn't have that history. we would love him. But let's get into the highlights here for that here.
Is our center referee.
Thought the referee had a pretty good game too.
Got a little more consistent.
Joining us here this evening.
Although we did say the ref sucks chant, which I didn't understand. I know friend of the show, Jonathan Check, also was like, why?
Oh, cheeky from Pirano and a great ball through, and Nico Hansen, and what a save from Rocco Rios Novo as he turns away Hansen, and the first golden opportunity of the match.
As he draws in the defender.
So I can tell you this was coming up to us. Pirano had tons of space. Like they didn't shut him down at all here. But kind of your thoughts on the play here, and
he knows exactly what he's.
Yeah, he sends the ball where it needs to be at, and you saw he's drawing attention. He's drawing two guys, maybe sometimes even three, because they're afraid of what he can do on the dribble, and so that's going to allow space for like Nico or Nacho to get under the balls and take shots. They're just kind of unlucky there. There should have been a one-touch shot there, but I think you mentioned that it hit his foot, so it might have.
It looks like it takes a little bit of a different direction, or he came up to it too quick, because you can tell he's cocked. Mm-hmm. But as we show here, it takes a deflection, or he has to go through.
Through the seams, man. If he had hit that one touch, it might have been.
And
a different
Katie
story,
Goodman,
away here by Phoenix. Pirano, the turn. He's got some space. Christian making a good run. Again, slip ball through. Bailone just puts it wide.
Just unlucky there.
And again, it's Christian Pirano.
Diagonal.
That play right there. You stop right there. There's four guys around him. That's what Pirano does. And you see there that through ball to Nacho is a great pass there.
Fantastic work there from Bailone, even to get the shot off. He's gone to the point where recruiting is a little bit easier.
For the step.
And here's the only shot from PHX Rising in the first half.
Set up here inside to the left, Majoma.
Pretty easy shot.
Trejo rather, and it's turned aside and saved by Corey Hayes. The touch line. Step forward there by Lambert, anticipating Luzachu. Back to Lambert. Challenge one there from Fabian Garcia. Pirano turns, and a great save again.
I think Pirano could have done different, you think?
Excuse me.
No, he didn't get it. If you notice on the volley, he didn't get a good touch. He didn't get good smack on it. Like it kind of come up a little.
Pirano turns, and a great save again for Rocco Rios.
He just didn't get a good turn on that shot.
In Monterey Bay Lady College is where Oakland Roots plays.
A lot of teams,
A lot of teams, you'll lose track of where they play, for sure. Trejo gets a step. Trejo puts
All
it
right,
in
so
with
we
the
have to
left.
talk about
And it's
this
the
one here.
visitors from
Danny
Phoenix who
Trejo
strike
with a good
first.
shot.
Danny Trejo, his third of the
Anything?
season in 5 matches.
I'll preface this. This is right after the half, and you can see me right here.
They're very
Telling you,
disappointed
I
there.
can tell you what I was saying right here. I had a bad feeling because the crowd was kind of dead. There was an uneasiness in the stadium because we had all those opportunities in the first half, and we didn't convert. They get their best chance, and you got to give credit to Danny Trejo. He finished. You mentioned the defense kind of was sleepwalking there a little bit, and we'll go through and you can explain kind of that decision, or if you want to take that back at this point. But kind of, I think the stadium after the championship buildup all through the week, to me there was just an uneasiness in the stadium. Past history, we didn't have the opportunities just like last year against Phoenix. We had opportunities, but we just couldn't get it past them. So we'll see how they broke down the defense here.
And Phoenix Rising continues the curse against San Antonio. They're up 1 early in the second half.
It happened. They came in. They moved the ball.
See that Maloney's there called ball watching instead of watching his man, because Garcia, like I said, Garcia wasn't within that space. But if you look at how Gomez is, yeah, he stopped him, has him there on the tracks, but like that little move, you're gonna see a little move that I think Trejo does here. That little space, see, he just kind of lets it go instead of going towards the ball.
And there was nothing Farr could do, right, as a goalie.
He could he needs to anticipate that shot, because if he knows,
because
he's got to know
that way, he needs to go with him, right?
Way. Now the only difference is you see the guy up top, unless Trejo jumps that ball there and then he takes a shot.
Yeah, there's another preview here, which where is it? Hold on, I'm back over here. Hold on.
A lot of teams,
a lot of teams you lose.
So this is Gomez. This is Maloney. That's Garcia. Batista's up here, and that's Zico. So here's Batista. Is he too far forward? I know he tends to play forward here, which
I think that's what's intended with when Marcino lets him do, is to go up and establish that, kind of the delaying of that attack. But he also needs to race back to that space, which I'm sure still Maloney. If you look at Maloney, where's he facing? He's facing towards the ball instead of looking towards his man.
This is Garcia. So this is where the play breaks down.
In Monterey Bay Lady College is where Oakland Roots plays.
Garcia's there, right?
A lot of teams.
So he's got he gets Bailey there. Yeah. They both get there.
You had both Batista and Garcia playing up. Zico was back. Maloney was playing center, center back, and Gomez was playing the far left.
Lose track of where they play.
And there's really nothing. My initial thought was if Gomez presses us up, but if he presses up, he runs the risk of committing a foul. Plus, as you can see here, the rising
player on the wing.
Player on the wing. There's nobody over there. If you look at kind of half the field, everybody's on this side, on the left side here. So breakdown in defense, and I guess because we were looking at Farr, he did move over. He just didn't move over far enough.
And if he does play the ball to the wing, that guy's got a shot to the opposite side of the post. If you notice, see if he dumps it there, he can go near post because he's got that space to beat him there because he's kind of set. But Trejo kind of continues it. And
Trejo puts it in with the left, and it's the visitors.
Trejo kind of got lucky there that
Danny Trejo, his third of the season.
I don't think it was luck. I think Trejo's that good of a player.
He is.
He only needs a little bit of a gap. But I guess to me, and Robert says, Favre wasn't ready for that shot. Looks like he felt the defender had that shooting lane covered.
Mm-hmm.
That shot wasn't hit with much pace. It was just well placed. And to me, Trejo's a world-class forward. He's played overseas. He is great. To me, he's a great forward for this level, and possibly could play MLS. Depending on, well, he did play MLS with LAFC. For a period of time. For that here. To me, like I said here, is just I guess I'm used to our center backs kind of staying back, but when you had Batista way up, when you had Garcia that was kind of out, our center back kind of out, that left Maloney everybody happened to slide over, and give Phoenix credit, they took advantage of it, and I know you pointed out at the match that you thought that they were going after Maloney a little bit.
Yeah, I think so, because I think they wanted to kind of, not saying Maloney's not physical, but, just give a size, trying to kind of muscle him and get some space. And they were playing a lot on his side. Now, had that been Mitch on that side, maybe Phoenix would have kind of backed off a bit. Or even on that play, Mitch probably could have pushed him out, Trejo out of the way, or been more physical with him to get that ball out. I know Shannon kind of got caught flat-footed though there because on that stance, but he still needs to kind of redirect him away, because what he did is kind of allowed him to still kind of have space to get that shot off.
He didn't close him up.
He didn't close him up, and then probably would have been better had Trejo given that pass away. Maybe they would have never end up scoring because of that. But it's a great play by them. They took advantage of numbers.
It happened. They came in.
I think also Jordan needed to. If you still, Jordan needs to also learn how to anticipate, because there's you can take a shot from there, and Jordan needs to realize, hey, I got to anticipate a shot no matter what. And I think
that's where
Mm-hmm.
Robert mentioned that Favre wasn't ready for that shot, and to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting the shot when he released it either. It kind of caught me off guard, because I saw Shannon have him. Now, obviously, we have the ability to kind of look at the film of it here, the video of it, and you could just see, Danny creating the space and creating the opportunity, and
vertically, and then
just
right there into the
you got to tip your hat to him for it.
Racing up that left flank. Bailey's got some space. Bailey to Ja'Cory Hayes. Hayes puts it on frame and punched away by Rocco Rios.
This was a shot that when we saw it here, you wish you would have placed it kind of in.
To
you
the
thought
right.
it was more center, right? You wanted it more against closer to the post.
To the post, to the right, like to the corners. I think if Ja'Cory hits that to the corner, that's it. That's in.
Bailey to Ja'Cory Hayes. Hayes puts it on frame.
Great save.
If you look at the space, if you look at the space, what Rocco has, he's more committed to that right side. So if Ja'Cory hits it to the left, to his right, it's in.
So over here, you thought if he goes more over here?
Yeah, he goes there. That's a goal. And lucky Rocco's kind of stayed up there. Had Rocco stepped up a little bit, he would have never made a in that save, because that top, to get that top end there, it would have been difficult to get that top end and get that cleared that ball out from that space. So he was at the right position there.
And I'll give Rocco credit, because to me, he's got a little Diego Shreppo in him, where he's 5'10", but as you can tell, he's got the jumping ability to be able to get up to the and tip it over the crossbar. He had 8 saves, so you got to give it to the Phoenix goalkeeper on making the saves.
And bring it top of 18. He had some space there. He took the shot. Great deflection. Even better block there from keeper Rocco. Phoenix defense kind of waking up here and starting to make things really difficult.
All right, let me ask you a question. Do you think we had more opportunities? Did you see more opportunities on the 18 to take shots? I've noticed that we didn't take a lot of them. That we had opportunities to do that, and that's something I wish we would do more, like what Ja'Cory did and what Pirano did as well.
Yeah, and Zico's took some of them as well. And we'll kind of get to it later on, but kind of Zico versus Parker, kind of your thoughts on how that goes. And here's a PK for on Carlos Harvey.
Adios.
Back here.
Fan favorite here in San Antonio.
Arm over the shoulder.
Finally got his red.
So I'll admit to it. When it happened, I thought it was a soft call because we're on the north end of the stadium. This happened on the other side. You saw kind of the hand fighting, but at least from our side, we didn't get a clear look at through here where the three tugs. I know Rising fans kind of were like not really a foul, or if it was a foul, it was outside. But to me, as we watch the replay here, I think it's the last one that he grabs on the hand that pulls him back. That force makes the ref to force the call here. Go too far. So that's one. I think he let that go. But it's that one there where he pulls him down.
I see that. Also, there's a kick on the back of the leg right there too. You can
kick back the leg too as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that arm over the shoulder, tripped him from behind. That was a good.
So right there, he's pulling him back, and then the sweep of the leg. Yeah.
Yellow to Carlos Harvey and a red. So Perano steps to the spot, is looking for his first of the season against the youngster Rocco Rios Novo.
Argentina on Argentina crime there.
Past the keeper and in, and SAFC is leveled at 1.
That step to the right, that's an indicator of where he's going to go. And Novo guessed correctly, but just couldn't withstand the power.
So as a goalkeeper, because I know Katie mentioned, and we kind of talked about this pregame here for that here. And then MC Gregor said Connor tried carrying out Marcin's call that Nacho would take it, but Perano was firm that he'd take it. Connor even ran to Marcina to check and came back. Then Obu stepped in and said it's Perano's PK. Yes, we had that same discussion on, hey, it looked like that.
The Argentine flavor there. I want to score my own countryman. There's a question that's interesting, y'all, regarding the mutiny. Well, normally who would take the PKs would have been a Tainer. Tainer would probably end up if he was available. That's normally but whatever coach says goes. That's something that's going to have to be discussed, I think, later. Addressed, I guess, by the team. Who's going to be their go-to PK specialist? But say what Katie said about the play there, about him stepping to the right. It's not really a dead giveaway that he was going to shoot that side. It's more of the body. If you look at his body there, I see how it's tight there. If he's opening up, if that plant leg opens up a little more, he's going to the left. Since it's a tight, he's going to the right on that play right there. And goalie also guessed right too. So, but like Robert mentioned, it just over him.
As a goalkeeper, are you able? And like I said, I know you kind of coach goalkeepers, and wish Robert was here because he was a goalkeeper as well. What are you reading on here? Are you reading his hips, or what are you just obviously there's film study. There's coaches that have said, okay, hey, his tendencies to go left, his tendencies to go right, along those lines here. So you already have kind of a game plan in your head. We saw that a couple of weeks ago with Jordan Farr, where the bench signaled, say, hey, he's going to go lower right, and that's the way he went. As a goalkeeper here.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of on their side here.
On his side, like if you look at he's looking at the kind of the body language there, where he's striking the ball. Also, sometimes you look at their eyes to see. Sometimes looking at their eyes, it tips things off. But you see how his body's tight right there, so he knows it's going to that right side. He's got a little open stance, in which I think Perano should have done instead. He had a clear shot on that. Sometimes you can also, as a kicker too, you're gonna have to really kind of wait till the last one where see where he's inching over. But the keeper made a good guess on there just to see how his body was. And was able to, leaned to the right side to almost get it, but just went, like Robert mentioned, just went over him.
All I know is if he would have stopped it,
yeah,
I don't know what I would have done.
Right above him, but
into the box. Right pass.
Box and everybody missed.
It's Zico Bailey. Bailey tries a shot that's blocked. Verano back out to Abu. Verano out wide. Here's Bailey. Back to Verano. Great save. The rebound try is turned away.
That was a great play there.
That's what do you do, man?
That's what we need to see more of. We need to see more of that. The kind of that triangular passing within that in the box, and also the those wall passes, or even the overlaps. But that was a great play there. Just unlucky. I mean, you got to give props to Novo for blocking that shot. And then the rebound was blocked by one of the defenders. But I think we need more of that. But I think it's going to take some time now with the kind of the new cast, because like I said, by that time Mercado came in, Bailey came in, Hernandez came in. I think Hernandez really kind of also did. I saw some great things what he did with the ball, touching and so forth. So he really kind of helped more of the attack. And then Bailey also, like I said, Bailey didn't miss a beat too. He was, he helped create part of that play right there. So once that chemistry is starting to build up top, I think we're going to be very dangerous, and we'll start seeing the goals starting to flow, go into the net.
So here's where ratings don't really, in my opinion, here's where ratings don't really make sense here. So we'll kind of talk about how Coach Marcina managed this game here. So at half, he subbed Isaiah Parker for Zico Bailey. I thought Zico Bailey had a pretty good game, although rating-wise, they only gave him a 6.4 and Parker 6.7. I didn't think Parker did poor, but I thought Bailey brought more to the attack. For that here. Your thoughts on Parker versus Bailey and kind of how that worked out? It seems like Parker's a little bit bigger, a little bit more physical. Where Zico, obviously I think I don't know if he has more speed, but it seemed like he brought more speed in the second half anyways.
And Zico's also a sneaky player too. If you notice, he really knows. I think he passes the ball well too, and he defends. One thing, he defends a little bit better than Parker. Not saying Parker wasn't doing well with defending. I was impressed by Parker as far as how, some of the things he did, physical play, going to the ball, attacking. So there's some upside to that. So it's a good problem to have both, because you can change it up. Zico can start one game, then you can change it up if you need an attack or get a goal. You can put Parker in, or vice versa. So yeah, that 6 rating's kind of like I probably would have given both maybe a 7 at the most, because they did.
I didn't think it was
factor
worse.
in. Yeah.
So, but it's they weren't very kind to either Shannon or the wing play. Then in the 62nd minute, they brought out Nacho and brought in Hurtado. I know Nacho wanted to get a goal, and they kept pushing it. And I think right before he came out, there was right after the penalty, pretty much that through there. So kind of disappointing for that, for that. But your thoughts on Smith coming in for Hayes and Hurtado coming in for Bologna?
I think Smith kind of changed it up. We had a little more speed. Jaquari, like I said, I think he had a great game. He just got unlucky on that one shot. He could have been the hero of the game if he nails that one in. But I think with Smith, and if you notice, we did have a little more of the attack. It was a lot faster, and we were confusing Phoenix a lot, and we were just kind of pressing them. And I thought we were going to finally, maybe they're going to finally crack and finally get one in, but we just ran out of time. But I think it was a good change of pace. I think he's come a long way from what he's done the last few weeks, and I think he finally knows the system. Hurtado is, like I said, basically like your holding mid, what Dylan is, but he's very physical. He's not afraid to challenge the ball, and he was knocking people off the ball too. So he's a good to change the pace as far as a forward to maybe that open up to for Parker also to get into under the ball to get some shots off.
Yeah, MCG3459 on YouTube, and thank you for tuning in. So Parker can be class with us. It may take a month or so, but definitely high on the kid, and Zico's there to help cushion the transition. If not be the excuse me, if not be the outright choice of himself. And then he followed up and said he loved Hurtado's aggressive nature. He's a warrior. Yeah, I think Hurtado's that, and I know he's on a 25-day contract. And to me, I wonder if it's between him and Kai who they sign. But to me, like I said here, I think it's going to be Hurtado. Number one, just the veteran leadership that he brings in, and number two, the physicality, that he brings in. As that big physical body up top, to be able to handle some of that load late in the game.
He's kind of like Santi, like Santi was our physical forward, so that's what you want, and he's going to bring it. But he's got, I think, if they are going to lean towards whoever they permanently sign, I think it'll be Hurtado because he's got the experience. He's a change of pace. He can come off the bench. And he can do a lot of the dirty work there to open up, things for Pirano or Hansen or Herrera. So he's a good person to have. And he, like I said, he's one of those forwards that'll get you under your skin and maybe get you a PK or two or free kicks around the 18. So I think they're going to lean more towards him, sign in to a permanent deal.
Robert mentioned Parker was a ball of energy, seemed very fit, sometimes was out of place, which, it's to be expected. He was just signed recently, maybe trying too hard, kind of like Lamar's first game. Parker does have speed. The play that he made tracking back at 37-38, if you go back and watch, shows that for that here. Then Larrera came in for Pirano, and in the 82nd minute, Hernandez came on for Hansen, which kind of surprised me a little bit. But your thoughts on Hernandez coming in at the 82nd minute had some flashes, and to me, Larrera and Pirano, I think you're going to see that sub all year long, where Pirano goes 60-70 minutes, and then Larrera comes in, because to be honest with you, I don't really see a big difference between the two of them at this point.
Oh, it's just like it's 1A, 1B. I mean, it's full on attack for those two guys. And then you add Hernandez in the mix, now you're going to have some problem. So you got to, like I said, you got a combination out of those three that can give you some problems there in the midfield. And it's just going to open space for us to get, have our forwards that get under the ball and score goals. And that's what they're there to do. Or even for them to get the space, how you saw Pirano will take shots from outside. So I think even Laurel will take them too, or try to beat you off the dribble. So I think we're in good shape there. I think we finally kind of solidified that. It's just now it's trying to build that chemistry with our forwards to finally put it in place.
So this is the game flow, and you can go on through here. I like SofaScore because it kind of has everything through them. And like I said, they're a good resource if you're kind of looking at numbers and just kind of through here. I can't remember the last time I saw a San Antonio FC match where the game flow looked like they controlled majority of the action like that here. Stat wise here, San Antonio had 56% of the possession, compared to 44, 19 shots, 9 on target, 10 corner kicks. One big chance. Here's what you're talking about: 13 shots in the box. They did have 6 outside. So for that here, Rocco had 8 saves, and all credit to him. Back-to-back games where I think they had over 300 passes. They were at 70%, which is something you look for if they're going to have possesses. 40% long ball, 21% on crosses, which isn't bad. For that here, they did lose possession, 166 to 145, 9 interceptions. Rising with 33 clearances, and part of that had to do with being down a man. Don't get me wrong. For that here, but kind of your thoughts. To me, it's a frustrating match, because I think San Antonio deserved the win, but whether it's cursed, with Rising or, just, Rising is our kryptonite, as I labeled this episode here. They couldn't get past Rocco. Rocco Rios Novo, the Argentinian. So I don't know what more you can say.
I'm surprised we won the possession game at 56%. Normally we're in the 30s or 40s, but if you watch the whole, the whole game, we basically controlled right from the get go. It's just that one little lapse, and that little you saw with those where they had the blue. That's when Phoenix really kind of turned it up a little bit, and that's where they got their goal. But we had them on their heels the whole night, and we're just unlucky to able to get that second one in. What do I take out of this? If I'm Marcina, can say, hey, well, it's a start. So like I said, we got the tie. We're able to tie this up. Now, what can we do when we do the rematch at Phoenix? Can we put it all together? And hopefully by that time, our teams will have that chemistry, and we can dominate them again and see if we can finally get that monkey off our back and get a win.
Now, time for the Mentality Monsters. Oh, you can't hear when it's on?
Oh, I can't hear it.
It's now time for the Mentality Monsters of the match. I have two of them. I'll go first with my first one, and my first one goes to Kevin Bass, Gabe Trubula, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Brian Colbert, and Selena Leyva, and all the people behind the scenes that put together, the championship kit. I know you had the black and gold one. To the stadium events, to all week, social media, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, just all the hype videos and stuff that they did a great job on. The ring presentations, being able to kind of be included with that. So hats off to the communication team of San Antonio FC. My 1A Mentality Monsters of the match. Do you have yours, or you need me to do 1B, or I'll do some of the crowd or some of the responses that Royce put out on Twitter for that here. Mark Ellis put at MR Centro, CENTO. He put Pirano, much better from him tonight. Drove at players, set up a couple of chances, won the penalty, fought off half of his own team to just take it to convert it. Shadow Wolf, our friend there, gave us the Danny Trejo actor look at us. Hey, how is RGV doing there, Shadow Wolf? Shout out to you, and if you get a chance, listen to his podcast. Down in the Valley, I love you. But how do you lose to Memphis 3-0? We're through there. David with at Alamo City SC. Honestly, Maloney, he made up several individual misses and misreads in the back. Randy Rogers, I think Pirano is the right answer. Darius Biber said, not sure there is one, just not a good showing against a meddling Phoenix team who were down a man for 40 minutes. I disagree that, it's a meddling Phoenix team, that they are a solid team. But walking out of the stadium, I won't lie to you, I was kind of struggling on finding a lot of positives walking out of the stadium. Just it was one of those that I talk a lot of junk, and especially I have to a lot of Rising fans and Owen Evans with PHNX Rising was at the stadium. He did a live show on YouTube with Max. They're in Phoenix here, and I hopped on, and I took my medicine for that here, because I was talking a lot of junk going in, and well, we didn't lose, we scored, which is something we didn't do last year.
They still don't have a star on their shirt.
They still, hey, I'll take losing to Phoenix if we get another star. I'll do that trade off. So, but,
which they don't have. So,
which they don't have. So, Your thoughts on the your Mentality Monster moment of the match, or person of the match?
I think I'm going to give this one to Abu, because he was really all over that first we're kind of creating, passes and taking, he's setting up on those free kicks and organizing. He did a lot, to keep the kind of the ship steady and going, because we needed his leadership for that game, and setting up plays even when in the second half. So you got to give it up to him. Not his best night, but like I say, he was very efficient as far as taking care of the ball and creating chances and so forth. So he's my Mechelen monster for this game.
Yeah, to me, I think on the pitch, I think you have to go with Pirano just because he was a key driver and everything. So I think he's probably the easy option. And I try to go outside the box, and that's why I went with the social media team. But I think as far as players on the team, has to be Pirano. He got the goal, he got the PK. He could have had a couple of assists on top if in the first half if they had converted. So I'm going to go with them. I thought the referee did a good job. Was fair to both teams. Let them play for that here. And like I said here, as I mentioned when we went through it, when Harvey's got his card, it was a just card, for that here. But to me, like I thought it was as a neutral, it was an entertaining game. For that here. So go back here.
He ran the game a lot better than the last two games that we've been in. He didn't want to make it all about himself.
Shout out to Sergey too. Thought he reffed a solid match. Yes.
Yeah, he didn't do those little tiki-tack fouls against us and so forth. They were for legit calls. Maybe one or two.
And he didn't. We only had one card, which if you want to see something that's kind of surprising, historically San Antonio FC's carded quite often, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we've conceded 100. We've conceded 113 fouls, which is third. However, yellow cards, we've only got 14th, which is tied for 14. PHX Rising's first with 24. So, I do think that I think we're being a little bit smarter with our fouls, maybe a little bit more tactical, not as reckless, along there. And I think part of that comes because they're used to the system. We're not doing a lot of rotation, and to me, and we talked about this in the preseason. We kept our core up the middle, with the exception of the forwards. But if forwards are getting fouls, and you've probably got bigger issues with that here. But any final thoughts on Phoenix before we touch base with Nashville?
So like you mentioned, they are a good team. I think they still need a little more. I think as far as maybe chemistry, because like I said, we did outplay them. There's no lapse. Give it a go. I saw a bright side to this game. Like I said, we played out of the games we played the last few years. This one was the one that we really outplayed them, and at least we did get some points. And I think the next game we play them at Phoenix, we should be chemistry wise better, and hopefully maybe healthier too. We'll have I'll have Shaner, Dylan back, and like I said, also with possible that new signing. Maybe we'll go there still 3 points from them. So things looking forward. I think hopefully Marcino will come up with something to kind of to build upon that and get those 3 points when we go to Phoenix.
Moving on, and I'm sure Royce will give me some good feedback here on too much music, not enough music. We'll kind of go from there. Further here, Open Cup. This is going to be, as you can see here on YouTube, at BR's Football. It's already there, so you can get the alerts for it. Nashville at Gudis Park for that here. 7:30 kickoff on the 26th for there. My question is, number one, there's zero buzz about this game here in San Antonio. Number two, do you think San Antonio FC's they're going to roll out a team, don't get me wrong. It's not going to be an academy team. But do you think it's a game that they're going to push hard for?
I think they don't really care about this. I think their focus is more on USL, trying to maintain it and being within distance of Sacramento and hopefully like repeating as champ. But if we find a way to win or we get a win, we don't know what Nashville is going to put out there too, because
True.
they may have an important game coming up on Saturday. So it's kind of like I said, it's a roll of the dice here. What kind of lineup both teams are going to have, but I have a feeling we're going to have some players. Maybe, like I said, maybe you'll see Parker, Manley. That'd probably be Manley's debut.
I don't know if you can play Parker though. I don't know if you can play the loans for that here, because that would cup tie them to us and not to the team. So probably the loanees you're not going to see most likely. I have a feeling.
Or unless how about it's against FC Dallas, but you won't be able to play that one, right? More likely.
Huh?
If it's against their home team, but they can't play those games.
Right, but the problem is if, let's say, Parker as an example, he plays with us against Nashville, that means he can't play for FC Dallas against us, because he'd already be cup. That's what happened to Club de Lone, is they had players that were cup tied for the qualifications for here now. So I did check to see who Nashville plays. They play a what's the 29th? A Saturday 12:30 match against Atlanta United. So it is a home match, but Atlanta United's a rival early. So, and these are, Nashville has a deeper roster. Probably, their bottom half of the roster is probably very similar to ours along those lines. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how, what Nashville rolls out, looking at that they do have a early match on Saturday for that here. But for me, as a fan, it's one of those things where, can we go full out versus Nashville and gamble with the rotated lineup for Vegas? Vegas isn't the strongest, but they're a better team than they were last year.
Yeah.
And when we look at the standings here, we're in third place? It might be fourth place with San Diego winning now. For that here, San Diego won today. I think they jumped us.
Okay.
So yeah, we're in fourth place now. So right now, Sacramento, 5 wins, 2 draws, no losses at 17 points. Loyal, 4 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss at 14. Switchbacks, 4 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses at 13. San Antonio, 3 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss at 12. And then Monterey Bay's in 5th, 3-2-2, 11th. El Paso's recovered from their 0-3 start. Now they're 3-1-3. 10 points. Oakland Roots 2-1-3. 7 points. Phoenix Rising with the draw 6-1-4. Although they played 6 matches, 1-4-1. 7 points. And then you got out of the playoffs, Orange County 1-3-3. 6 points. RGV 1-3-2. 6 points. Vegas 0-4-1. I think Vegas is the last team in USL to not have a win. Yeah, with Memphis beating and Miami won today. So, yes, Vegas is the last team without a win. They do have 4 draws for that here. And then not really poor, but we'll say poor New Mexico United, 1-1-3, 4 points. So 1 win, 1 draw, and 3 losses. A lot of unhappy people in New Mexico at this point. So yes, we do love a USL versus MLS Cup set. We know what would happen is if San Antonio FC does win, they're probably going to be put into a group with Austin, and we'll see who else. And it'll be kind of interesting. And to me, we'll go with the Patrick Ewing draft pick where there's a warm envelope. And I have a feeling if we do get the upset over Nashville, I'd be willing to bet my house that we end up in Austin at Q2. I just, there'll be some Garber bucks that exchange hands. So, but no, I think if it was a home match, I think there would be a whole lot more excitement. But with it being Nashville so far and away, not a Texas team, like at the tailgate, it really wasn't discussed a whole lot. There, and then after this, we got the back-to-back Vegas matches, which we may try to have a show Thursday. I'm gonna see if Thursday or Friday if we can get together. If it's Rafa, me, or Royce and me, or just somebody to kind of number one talk about the Open Cup match, but kind of touch base on Vegas because we're already at 70 minutes here, which I'm gonna get in trouble with Royce for going over an hour. But any final thoughts on Open Cup or final thoughts for the show?
We'll see what happens in Nashville. I mean, if you're anyone heading out there, be safe, and maybe they'll wear those Johnny Cash jerseys or.
Oh yeah, now. Who's Matt going to cheer for, dude?
Yeah, no, he's all Dynamo, so he's just a fan of that jersey. So everyone going out there, hey, bring me just give me a Johnny Cash scarf. You can bring that back to us. But no, that should be a fun game. I think it'll be a fun game if we get the win. We'll see what happens next. I'm sure he'll put a fun lineup, and then the focus is really on Saturday. We definitely need to get 3 points against Las Vegas.
3 points.
And then when we head back, we'll head to their place when they're on that crappy field that they play on, get another 3 points, and then get ready for May. Because May, we only have one game in May, and that's towards the end of the month. So they're going to hit the road for I think the next 4 games actually.
So to me, what I want to see, Nashville, if we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. Just be, I hate to say this, I don't really care. I'm upset at the Open Cup. I'm upset at the Open Cup because not every game's covered like it should be. U.S. Soccer doesn't make it a priority. Hell, some USL teams aren't making it a priority. Some MLS teams aren't making it a priority by not televising or, showing the thing. Now, our club did do the right thing and show it, but like Portland Timbers, could it be that they're going against Orange County and, kind of a little bit of pushback? I don't know, but to me, like I said here, I'm a little bit sour on Open Cup this year. It's a great event, but U.S. Soccer should put more effort into it than what they're doing this year. It's an afterthought. The only other thing, my final thought here, and I'll give you a quick second to talk about it. We got the World Cup, or what's the events we have? The World Cup in 26, right? Mm-hmm. In 25, we have what is it? The Copa America. 26 and then 27, USA and Mexico are putting in for the Women's World Cup, so it hasn't been awarded yet. And then 28, they would have the Olympics here stateside. And I think there's something going on next year, 2024. I forget what it is. But there's big international soccer. So, Kenny, your thoughts on having having the Men's World Cup in 2026 followed up by the Women's World Cup, and it being shared, the men's being shared between Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. Canada gets the boot for the women's, which is kind of surprising because Canada historically has had a better women's team than Mexico, although Mexico didn't qualify for the World Cup, right? For here, I think they had a disappointment their last one.
Yeah.
For it here, but kind of your thoughts on what a Women's World Cup would look like between Mexico and the United States, and just obviously you cover Mexico. Well, I don't say you cover, but you're a fan of Mexico. Soccer along those lines. Kind of. So your thoughts on what it would mean for Mexico and embracing the women's game. And then also, obviously, the U.S. has been a powerhouse with it, although the gap's closing with the European clubs. And Japan historically has been pretty good with Brazil. But kind of your thoughts on that?
I think it's an opportunity for really for Mexico to really kind of open up more interest of the game, because you do also have Liga MX for the women, which they've done they have some great teams. You know, like I know Club America's got a women's team, Chivas, Monterrey. So they're actually getting televised those games on Univision. So I think this is a good step for them to kind of build that league, get more talent. And I'm sure more likely those games are going to be played in Monterrey, Mexico City, and in Guadalajara. Those are probably your three the ones that we're going to face in 2026. More likely those are going to be the three, and then the U.S. maybe kind of the same way that we're doing it for 2020 for the World Cup here in the U.S. Yeah, a little surprising that Canada wasn't asked. You know, you would think that maybe to play a game like in Vancouver.
They hosted it as well recently. Last ones in North America to host.
Yeah, you would think they would have it there, maybe at Vancouver or Montreal or Toronto, but I guess this was more maybe a joint bid between Mexico and, like I said, U.S. And then the other ones, like I said, you got the 2026 World Cup coming here in North America. You got the Copa America, which I'm psyched about that one, and then the Gold Cup's coming up this year. They already announced where the teams and where they're going to play out. I'm more likely going to be at the June 25th game in Houston, and Energy for Houston and Honduras. So that should be a fun game. There's usually there'll be a big crowd there. So lots of there's going to be a lot of soccer, a lot of international soccer coming over here, and it's going to be fun. So you have a chance, and make sure you head out to those games.
All right. So if you're watching or listening, this is for Royce. We're going to go ahead and end the show here. However, Rafa and I love to talk a little bit more about Champions League. So we're going to, Royce, the show technically ended here. This is SA Soccer Roundtable picking it up now for that here. But if just you and me, we got to talk Champions League. Real Madrid got by Chelsea, no surprise. Man City got by Bayern. I think that how they did it, I think, was a little bit of a surprise, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Milan, Inter, and AC on the other side of the bracket. So to me, I wish that it broke up the teams from Italy, but that's how it goes. Real Madrid, Manchester City, Milan versus Inter Milan. Great Final Four historically. Well, I guess Man City historically doesn't have a lot of there, but nowadays they're a good team. Let me kind of refresh that here. Recent history, but kind of titles. And I know who you're going for. We already know that here, but kind of your thoughts on Milan and Inter Milan, and then obviously the one you and I'll and Coach will banter back forth Manchester City and Real Madrid.
Well, the Real Madrid and Man City, that should have been your final there.
Yes, in my opinion.
Yeah, that should have been the final there. Kind of break up the Milan jersey, but like I said, Milan does have 7 championships. I think Inter has 3 or 4. So, but they're playing.
Here's the great thing about it not being in a final is you get 2 legs. Because the final's just 1 leg. Here you get both home and away. So you get 2, hopefully, 4 great matches, for that here, which, I'm not sure who hosts. I can look it up, but who hosts, who first?
Yeah, I think they're at Real Madrid's host for the City. Well,
Real Madrid hosts May 9th, and then May 17th, Man City hosts, yeah.
The Milan one was at the same stadium.
Yeah, Milan hosts on May 10th, and then Inter hosts on May 16th. So, but they have this. They share the same stadium.
They say in the San Siro. Yeah.
So let me ask you that, because I don't follow. I follow EPL and a little bit in the German. I don't follow a lot about Italy. I know these are the historically 2 big clubs. And both of them kind of had Barcelona type issues. Just kind of keeping it real. Or Juventus, who got off a 17-point ban just recently, right?
I think they might get him back. I don't know. They might have used
the
Barcelona way of paying off the refs.
But kind of like historically, how will Milan and Inter Milan, how will that kind of set that rivalry, and you kind of, how do you see that one playing?
I think that's your classic rivalry there in the Calcio. You know, even though Napoli's running away with the league, and I'm one of the analysts were saying that Napoli was probably the most dangerous team out of the
best team in Europe, some people say.
Yeah. So, but for them to kind of falter there, I was surprised. But you got to give it to AC Milan. You know, they have the history. They're grinding it out, and I think this. You know, the between them and Inter, like I said, it's the classic, and they know what's at stake, and they're going to go all out because they know they're not going to win the Calcio. So, what best is add another European trophy, since both of them have done it in the past. Like I said, with AC Milan's already,
right? If Juventus doesn't get the points rescinded, I think I saw that they may not qualify for Champions League next year.
Yeah, so they may end up in the Europa League. So it's a lot at stake for them because they know that they have to win out in order to continue on the Champions League. And then as far as the other game, I think Man City still has nightmares from last year.
It's a new Man City team.
But Holland's kind of been. He's got his games and this and that. And the thing is,
he's not as hot as he was at the start of the year.
Yeah,
100%.
And the thing is, can he stay hot? Can he? This is probably the biggest game of his career here, and if he does a dud, how does that hurt him? Because like I said, I think he's the front runner for the Ballon d'Oro. What he's been doing, but. I think Madrid has a plan, even though Militao's going to be out the first leg because of yellow cards. But they have the one thing with Real Madrid, they have players that have been there, done that. A lot of them have 5. Like I said, they have 5 championships together. So, the pressure is on Man City to deliver because, like I said, Real Madrid is not the favorite here. But knowing how Vinny Jr. has been playing, Rodrigo and Benzema. The one that's the scary one is Modric. Modric at 37 still playing like a wizard. He's done well. And he's, like I said, he's battle tested also with Toni Kroos. Those two are wreaking havoc there in the midfields, and they gave, like I said, Man City fits last year. But then you got new players like Valverde, Camavinga playing on the left back. He's normally a holding mid. He's been spectacular playing that left mid, so it'll be interesting. I know they got a final too on May 6th. They got the Copa del Rey final, I think with I forgot who they're playing. I think Valladolid, one of those teams, but they have a final on the 6th. So that's going to be tough because they not only have to play in the 6th, they got to turn around 3 days later play that game against Man City.
Osasuna.
Osasuna, yeah. So, but it'll be fun. We'll see who gets to Istanbul, and like I said, hopefully Madrid gets a good big lead like they did on Chelsea and some of the other games, and then Liverpool. And
the insight on the Copa del Rey, Real Madrid hasn't lost to Osasuna in the last 18 meetings, 13 wins, 5 draws.
It's like the old saying goes, Real Madrid doesn't lose finals. They win them.
And it's a home match too. Oh, it is a home match too, huh? Wow.
Yeah. So they don't lose home game. They don't lose final. So you can chuck that one up there.
Did you watch the U.S. and Mexico cash grab? It was all right.
Yeah.
It was an entertaining game, but it just.
I did see some positives for the Mexican side. I know they've had their struggles. What I did see, they did outplay the U.S.
midfielder, right? The midfielders.
They did outplay them. They were just unlucky. Like I said, they could have gotten that second goal ahead off the shot. and there's a miscommunication between the keeper and that defender. But what I saw there, they really touched the ball a lot better. They were more active. They were winning more 50-50 balls. So that's some upside, and that's with the Liga MX players. So hopefully, when you plug in some of your other couple, European players, they can build upon that. And I think, for Mexico, they just got to kind of stay consistent on that, because, they're in a tough group. Like I said, they got Honduras, they got Qatar. I forgot who else they had. I think Haiti in their group. So there's no gamies in those games. So to get to, and then, if they finish second, they may play the U.S. in that semifinal game. So it's important for them to keep on doing what they need to do. But I saw some upside on it. U.S., I was kind of, I don't know, it looked like they just didn't want to be there. They were just not interested in that game. They were making mistakes that they normally don't do, and that's, I don't know, as with the coaching situation. We'll see. Like I said, I know they didn't have their normal European players, but that's a little concerning there, that inconsistent play that they had on Wednesday.
Anything else? I know we got about another 15 minutes here, or we went another 15 minutes here. But I always enjoy talking, Barcelona with you, because I know you're a huge fan. And then U.S. Mexico, we have to talk about it here. But high school show, as far as for SA Soccer Roundtable,
probably do one. Maybe I know this week we had some things. I think maybe next week like an end of review show. Maybe some power rankings.
Next, because this week here it's jam packed with San Antonio FC.
Mm-hmm.
If we are going to do a show, I think I'd rather put it, to kind of a recap of the Open Cup, and then because we didn't really touch base with Vegas at all. And then depending on the result of that Open Cup match, especially if San Antonio FC wins, then the buzz around the Open Cup is going to pick up, because you're at round 4 for that here. So for the high school coverage, we'll probably wrap up next Wednesday or next Thursday, depending on schedule for that. Or I guess we could do it next Monday. We'll have to kind of do it next week for that here, and then we'll kind of do the final rankings for the San Antonio area. One thing I did want to shout out is I'm trying to blank on the SAFC had the girls from
I think Smithson Valley, I believe.
Smithson Valley. Yeah, Smithson Valley, yeah. There, along with other teams that had won championships. So that was kind of cool on Champions Night. For them to bring those, bring the teams out and give the little kids high fives and the ladies there. And then I know we've seen a lot of awards being handed, district awards for that here. So we might see if Rafa can put together his player of the year for boys and girls soccer here for the San Antonio area, if he wants to go that far. But I think that's it for me. We've almost went 90 minutes. I don't want to go extra because, I'll get my hand slapped from Royce. I'm probably already going to get my hand slapped. I'll blame it on the music. Music that extended. Rafa, it's fun. Robert, can't wait to have you back on. Sorry your Brahmas are like your Vikings out of the playoffs. Missed kick. Dude, is Gary Anderson all over. They had it. And, not. Royce, I know the real reason why you weren't with us tonight is because you were watching the Stars. You can just admit it. The Stars were on. They came away. I think I saw that they came away with the victory. Matt, love the work that you do in the bunker and with the other supporters groups. James with the Crocketeers and 210, Stuart with 210, and Matt with FTC for that here. So continue rocking the bunker there, guys. For Rafa had to take out, but we're going to go ahead and drop off. Hope everybody has a wonderful evening. What's life without goals? We're out of here.